Um, so we're now through with your physical, and we're going to discuss advanced directives. Do you have an advanced directive?
I do not.
Would you like to talk about that?
Yes, please.
Great. Here's some paperwork that I have in front of us, and we're going to talk through this paperwork together. You don't have to know the answers right now to all of these questions, but it's just good to start thinking about that. So there are 5 parts to this document. We're first going to talk about a healthcare agent. It's someone who would make decisions for you. Then we're going to talk about your treatment goals and wishes. Then any limitations of treatment you'd want at the end of your life. And then organ donation and your preferences for burial. And the part 5 is signatures to make the document valid. So we'll go through all of that. Any questions before we start?
Nope.
Okay. So the first part is naming your agent. So a healthcare agent is someone who you trust and you would want making decisions for you. You also have to ask them to be your agent. You can also then have a co-agent who's someone who makes decisions with the other agent together. You may also appoint an alternate agent. So if the primary agent is unavailable, you can have an alternate agent as well. And then this also has a space for others who may be consulted about medical decisions on my behalf. So if you'd like anyone else in your family or any friends to be consulted, you can place that there. This also has a spot for your primary care provider and those who should not be consulted about your health. If you have someone that you truly don't want making decisions for you at the end of your life, you should put that there. Finally, this is when you'd want this advanced directive to start. So a lot of folks choose when I cannot make my own decisions. Some folks may want it now, or some folks may want a specific time in your healthcare trajectory. Any questions about healthcare agents?
No.
Okay. So now is your healthcare goals and spiritual wishes. So there are 3 options for healthcare goals. There's also a space if those 3 options don't really meet your needs, but these 3 options are: I want to have my life sustained as long as possible by medical means, or I want treatment to sustain my life only if I will be able to communicate with friends and family, be able to care for myself, and these are all different bullets, live without incapacitating pain, and be conscious and aware of my surroundings. The final one is I only want treatment directed towards my comfort. And then this is the place that you can express other beliefs. And then a spot to list people that would be notified if you had a life-threatening illness. And then finally, if I'm dying, it is important for me to be at home, in the hospital, or if you have a different place in mind, you would place that there. So then it talks a little bit about spiritual wishes. If you have a specific place of worship or a faith, you can put that here. And if there are any readings or music that would be of comfort to you, if you were not feeling well or could not communicate, you can place that here as well. Any questions about spiritual care and your healthcare goals?
No.
Okay. Now we have limitations of treatment. Do you understand what CPR is?
Yes.
Okay. So first is choosing if your heart stops, whether or not you would want CPR. And then, do you understand what a ventilator machine is?
Yes.
Okay. So the next question would be, if I'm unable to breathe on my own, if you would want a ventilator without any time limit, with some time limit to see if you'd get better, or if you would not want a ventilator at all. And then the next part is about a feeding tube. Have you seen those before or heard of them?
Yes.
So if I'm unable to swallow enough food or water to stay alive, if you would want to do a long-term feeding tube, a short-term trial feeding tube, or a no feeding tube for any length of time. And finally, if I'm terminally ill or so ill that I'm unlikely to get better, this is a choice of whether or not you'd want antibiotics to fight an infection. And then there's a spot for additional limitations of treatment as well. Any questions about the limitations of treatment?
No.
Okay, so part 4 is organ organ or tissue donation and burial of remains. So part 4, just said that. My wishes for organ and tissue donation, whatever you would like to donate. So you could do all of your organs and tissue, or you could specify which organs and tissue you'd like to donate, or you'd want your healthcare agent to decide. And then for burial, there's a place to put in where you would, if you had pre-contracted funeral arrangements, there's a place to place that. And then if you'd want specific people making decisions about the end of life or your burial, then you can place that there. And this also includes specific wishes. If you'd want a wake or a viewing, if you would prefer cremation, there's a place to put that here as well. Any questions about the organ tissue donation or the burial?
No.
Okay. Finally, part 5 is a signed declaration of wishes. So this is where you would sign to put this into action. And you would need 2 witnesses, and those witnesses can't be related to you at all, but they have to be adults and able to state that you were not under duress when you were signing this. And then it has a list of who could have a copy of your advance directives. So you could put it in the registry. So if someone needed to look it up, it would be in a registry on the internet, so they could look it up. You could also give it to your doctor or a hospital, and then maybe giving it to family members so they could know what your end of life wishes are is a good idea. Any questions about this at all?
No, thank you.
And you could fill out part of it or all of it, really anything. And then you can make changes later. Okay. Well, we'll continue on with the rest of your physical.